welcome to Bay Area Artbeat. Coming up at the beginning of May, the first weekend in May, will be the Bay Area Book Fair. Fabulous, exciting, wonderful event. And I'm here to speak with people involved with the fair. And Claire is the program manager, and I will let you introduce yourself and say a few words. Welcome, Claire. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm Claire Calderon, and I'm the program manager of the Bay Area Book Festival, which you said is coming up the first weekend of May. It's just 11 days away. We're really excited for it.
One of the things I love about the festival is there's so many free events. I mean, anybody can really go to this festival.
Yeah.
And would you mention some of the things you consider highlights?
Absolutely. So our San Francisco Chronicle stage is part of the outdoor fair, and everything there is free. And we have some incredible events there, including we're going to be featuring Jose Antonio Vargas, who wrote a book called Dear America that's looking at citizenship and belonging and being undocumented. It's an incredible book.
Great.
He'll be interviewed on the Chronicle stage, as well as
who's interviewing him?
Kate Campbell.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
And we'll also be doing 2 interviews with really talented chefs.
Oh.
One with Kwame Onwuachi on his book called Notes of a Young Black Chef. And he'll be interviewed by Bryant Terry, who is an incredible chef and the author of Afro Vegan, who's here in Oakland. And then also an interview with Nick Sharma, who's also a local chef and the author of a book called Season. Yeah. He also writes a really good book blog.
Wonderful.
And yeah, we'll have the musician Moby playing. He's going to be in conversation about his memoir, and then he's going to play a few songs for us on that stage.
That's going to be on the main and the
Chronicle stage. Yeah.
When is? I'm sure people would love to hear that. When is that going to be?
That particular event, I don't have off the top of my head. But check out the full schedule on our website to see what's in that stage.
That would be probably the best idea, to go to the website. And is there any other place people could find the full schedule besides the website?
We are sending out press releases with highlights of some of our events. We have over 100 events happening over the course of 2 days. And we have over 250 authors and speakers. So it's a really jam-packed weekend.
Yeah.
So we mostly have little highlights, but to see the full schedule of everything we're offering, you should check out the website.
There isn't like an insert in a newspaper or anything.
Well,
I remember that from last year.
The Chronicle Guide, the San Francisco Chronicle Guide, will have a full overview of all of our programs, and that will be coming out soon. Yeah. So
okay. Do you know? I mean, that's a plug for the Chronicle. Do you know when that's going to happen?
Absolutely. We are doing the final proofs now, so it'll be out within a little over a week. Yeah.
Okay, and it'll be in the Chronicle in the Sunday, or you don't know?
It will be it'll be sent out by the Chronicle to all 9 counties of the Bay Area.
Great.
And it will also be available at the festival, so you can use it as your map, your guide to the festival.
Oh, great.
We're also doing a lot more young adult programming this year.
Yeah.
That's all completely free.
Yes.
And that's going to be at the Florence Schwimley Theater. That's right at Berkeley High School.
Great.
And we're doing an interview with a wonderful young adult author, Justina Ireland, who wrote the book Dread Nation.
Yeah.
We're also doing partnering with the UC Berkeley Poetry for the People program, June Jordan's poetry program, to do a performance by the youth poets, part of that program right now.
Great. When is that happening?
And that's all free and happening on Saturday.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
But there's 2 full days, Saturday and Sunday, of free programming.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. The few things I want to mention, because I adore this festival and I really want to encourage people to go to it, but know that the venues are a little bit far apart. I mean, not far apart, they're all downtown, but they're not like next door.
Right.
And if there are 2 things that you want to see, 2 free things that are next to each other, I suggest that you try to get 2 things that aren't next to each other. I mean, that you give yourself in between, because there's always kind of a way to get in and things.
Yeah, give yourself plenty of time, especially if you buy a wristband.
Yeah.
That will get you, and a wristband is only $15 to get you into any of the ticketed events.
Yeah, it's $50 you can get into all the events, and for $10 you can get into one.
Correct.
So if there's one thing that you absolutely feel that you must see, or 2 things, and if there's more than at least up to, no, a wristband is a good way to support the festival and also get you into everything.
And even if you have a wristband, you still need to get there on time.
You do.
So leave yourself time to walk around.
Right.
Our outdoor fair has a lot going on as well.
Yes.
And that's all completely free. We're partnering with La Cocina this year that's doing a full food court of local food vendors.
Great.
That are they're all locally owned, mostly women, immigrant-owned businesses that have been started by this food incubation program through La Cocina.
Great.
And so that's going to be great. And just tons of activities. All of the kids' programming in the outdoor fair is free.
Yeah. And the authors, there'll be booths with authors selling their
Correct.
books, right?
Yes.
And signings and things like that.
Yeah, there'll be booths with independent authors and signings. There'll be MFA programs and other programs on writing and all kinds of writing and book related events.
Yeah. So now tell me something about yourself, what you did before you got here.
Well, I'm a writer and a literary curator. I started doing work in the literary world around when I got my master's degree at Mills College.
Yeah.
And I was programming events there through their Contemporary Writers series. So I got to meet a lot of visiting writers and host them and learn a little bit about everything that goes into planning that kind of event.
Well, I am so happy to have you a part of the festival.
Yeah, thank you.
And I hope that the people are really excited that you just show up on Saturday and Sunday and you will, I can almost guarantee you will not be disappointed. It'll be something for everybody there. You'll really love it.
Yes,
Claire, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks
it was
for
a
having
pleasure,
me,
really. And welcome to the festival and welcome to Bay Area Art Beat.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks. Thank you so much. Welcome back to Bay Area Art Beat. We're continuing to talk about the Bay Area Book Festival, and I am so pleased to have Arisika with me. Introduce yourself, my dear.
Okay.
And tell us a little bit about you when you introduce yourself.
Certainly. My name is Arisika Razak, and I've lived in the Bay Area since 1969. I was an inner city midwife for over 20 years, and then I taught at the California Institute of Integral Studies for almost 20 years. I'm Professor Emerita at this point.
Great.
And teaching at the East Bay Meditation Center primarily.
Oh, wonderful. So you're no longer at CCIS?
CIIS. No, I am an adjunct professor. I'm still supervising dissertation students and teaching 1 or 2 classes a year.
Great. And you teach meditation at East Bay Meditation Center?
I do.
Wonderful.
And I'm the former chair of the Women's Spirituality Program at CIIS.
Oh, great. I knew that. I like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited about the program that you're going to be moderating. It's on Sunday, right? So
it's on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It's at 10, and it's a women's spirituality session, and we'll be discussing 2 books. One of them is Feeding 1,000 Souls. It's a new book, just come out. And the other one is a second edition of an older book, The Heart of the Goddess.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I have just been reading the newer book, but I know the author, Hallie Eigelhart Austin, of the former book, and actually, did some bringing of poems to her and knowledge about that. And Vijaya is a colleague of mine that we see each other at conferences.
Yeah. Do you want to hold them both up?
Sure.
So, and that one.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping to be at this program. I mean, it looks really like an exciting way to start Sunday morning, right?
Right.
Those of us that are in church will be will be there, right?
Right.
Okay, and so tell me more about what you conceive of doing in the program itself.
Well, I know that both of these authors have worked really hard and for many years to produce the book. So it's a labor of love, it's a labor of perseverance and dedication. And it's a way to bring the sometimes buried, overlooked, or even ignored roles that women carry in a variety of spiritual traditions. Vijaya's book focuses on the tradition of kolam making, which are drawings made generally of rice flour on the threshold of the door. That's carried out in contemporary times, not only in India, but throughout the Indian diaspora. Halley's book is a little different in that it speaks to a variety of spiritual traditions spanning from the Neolithic and Paleolithic periods into contemporary times. And her book primarily looks at the way that women show up as divinities, or the sacred feminine, or the divine feminine. Now, some people have problems with that term because femininity is usually a term that speaks to an idealized womanhood or an idealized divinity. But this book looks at the way that prayers, incantations, rituals relate to the body of woman, her life-producing aspects, the joy, the transformation, and the fact that in various cultures, women are also associated with death and the cycle of birth, death, rebirth, or transformation. So it's a wider look at spiritual traditions, including the work of contemporary artists, scholar practitioners.
Oh, great! Is this a new book, or is this
The Heart of the Goddess?
Yeah, or
no,
reissued?
It's a second edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did it come out originally? Do you know when it came out?
I think it came out in the
'Cause I
late
remember it
70s or
yes,
early
I remember
80s.
it a long
I'd
time
have
ago.
to look to
And then
see.
don't bother.
Okay.
Then she's revised it, and this is so this is a revised edition.
This is a revised
Oh,
edition.
that's really exciting that she did that in terms of new research and new things coming forth.
Right, and new
Great.
emphases. But I think one of the things that she really did keep intact is with each image, because it's a book of artistic images, sometimes
Yeah.
sculptural, sometimes painting, sometimes what one might call photomythology, so images of contemporary women, is that each is linked with a poem from that culture, a ritual from that culture, a prayer, an incantation, and some history about who the figure is and what she represents in the culture.
Oh, that's very exciting. That's very exciting.
Halley, for example, makes the point that while in European-based pictures of the Madonna and Child, the Christ child is often emphasized. But in many of the pictures coming from Africa of mothers and children, the power, the nurturing ability of the female, the mother, is emphasized.
Great.
And that while the various virgins in the European tradition are almost always clothed, in African traditions, because the body is sacred and the generative capacities of the body are sacred, and the nurturing capacity, speaking of breastfeeding as the child's first nourishment, so that the body is portrayed naked. So it's a very different kind of tradition.
Incredible. Oh, I'm so excited about, and she'll be at the fair. She'll be
at this panel, as will Vijaya. Both of them will be.
That's wonderful to meet them in person and have them there.
And one of the things I think that Vijaya is able to talk about is she went and interviewed women in a number of Indian villages. She talked with her own mother, who in America made columns, these drawings, to get what did rural women, sometimes educated and sometimes not very educated, what had they learned? What did this mean? Why did they do that?
That's great. I am so I'm so glad you're able to be with us, and really, really looking forward to the panel. And welcome back to Bay Area Art Beat. I am so delighted to have Susan Griffin as a guest here today. Susan will be part of a panel, or moderating a panel, or
Part of it.
Part of a panel on Saturday morning at the Book Festival, and she's going to talk a little bit. Well, first I'd love to have you tell me a little bit about yourself, and I know Susan is one of the people that the City of Berkeley has honored. Very proud to have Susan a part of the City of Berkeley. And Guggenheim winner, NEA, all kinds of stuff. A book nominated for Pulitzer Prize.
Finalist.
Finalist.
Called The Chorus of Stones.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because
Well,
you probably
I've been
know
a
best.
writer ever since I can. I was writing things when I was 10 years old, 9 years old. I decided to become a writer when I was 14, and I've done that with my life ever since.
Great.
So
Great.
I've published 20 books.
Fabulous.
And one of them is Woman in Nature. Since today is Earth Day, might as well
Yes.
talk about
Yeah,
that.
that's a fabulous book.
It inspired the ecofeminist movement. I like to draw connections between things
Yes,
that aren't usually connected,
yes.
but they are connected in
Yeah.
fact. They're just not perceived that way.
And tell us about Voices, your play Voices.
Voices won an Emmy for a local production,
Yeah,
and it was on KQED for a while. And
yeah, that was wonderful.
It's 5 different women who don't know each other,
Yeah,
but as you hear them tell their stories, you can hear the resonance,
yeah.
the pattern in their
Yeah.
lives.
And you also did the soundtrack for Berkeley in the 60s.
Well, I wrote it, I was a co-script writer for
Uh-huh.
that, and I also was the narrator's voice,
Yeah, yeah.
which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I was the voiceover.
I think that was a wonderful movie. And I
Yeah,
saw it come
it
back.
was.
They've shown it again and again, right?
Yeah, it's an important film, I think.
Yeah. And you're also involved with a film on Sunday. Is it Saturday night? They're going to
Well,
show
I was
Robert Shear.
interviewed, it's a film on Bob Shear,
Yes.
Robert Shear. And, I've known him for years, and I worked with him at Ramparts
Yeah.
and other times. And so I'm in the film. And so they put me on the panel. I don't know what I'll do on the panel, but
And is that Saturday night or Sunday night?
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
At
so
7.
So you're beginning the festival on Saturday
And I'm
morning
ending it on
ending
Sunday.
night.
Yeah.
Good. You obviously play an important role with beginnings and endings. Well, that's really wonderful. So, do you want to say something about the panel, your opening panel?
Yeah, Sandra Gilbert has edited a collection of Adrienne Rich's essays. Of course, she's very well known as a poet,
Yes.
but she's also written very significant prose and books and also essays that have never been collected before into one volume.
Oh,
And
really?
It's
Is it
really
just
quite an
coming-
experience
is it coming
reading
out
it.
now? Coming out?
Yes, it's out.
Oh,
Yeah,
when
it's a
did it
wonderful
come
book.
out?
I don't know. I think this spring
This
sometime.
is new. It's
Yeah.
relatively new. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember hearing that it was going to come out, but I'm welcome to the world.
Yeah, it's a terrific book, and I was very close with Adrienne for
Oh,
a whole
great.
period, and around spending time with her, we would exchange manuscripts and everything. So I was kind of an eyewitness to the creation of some of this work, but reading it again in this form is really it gives you an appreciation for her trajectory as a thinker. She
Yeah.
really was a thinker as well as a poet.
Right.
And very radical thought, very transformative,
Oh, great.
very deep, and quite wonderful. So I highly recommend it.
Great. Is the book just prose or is there poetry also?
No, just prose.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And
Her collected poems came out a couple of years ago.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did she? How long has she been gone?
You know, I don't know. It's been about maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she certainly has a wonderful legacy, and how wonderful acknowledging it.
Yes, and the other thing about the panel is that there will be some younger writers on the
Right.
panel.
Do you know who they are?
Well,
I have it written somewhere if you don't know.
Yeah, I have it written here too, because Nell Painter, Morgan Parker, and our own Aya de
Oh,
Leon.
great.
Yeah, so they can talk about where feminism is going now.
Wonderful.
The interesting thing is that a lot of the ideas that are arising now were introduced
Of course.
by those of us who are older, and we did
Yes.
that in the 70s and
Yeah.
80s. But it's got a different flavor now.
What's the difference? What do you think?
Well, there's a kind of a greater sophistication about how to organize things.
Yeah.
And there's a connectedness across cultural and class lines, so that, you know, there are more women of color involved, and there's immediate, pretty quick recognition in the Me Too movement that some of the people targeted the most are waitresses and cleaning people who are on cleaning staff, janitorial staffs, that they are sexually abused, sexually harassed
Yeah.
really often, that those are dangerous professions for women to be in.
Yeah.
So, you know, it took a while for the women's movement to integrate working class people. We always, many of us thought about class from the beginning, but it wasn't integrated into the movement. We didn't
Yeah.
have the connections.
Yeah.
Now we do, because there are women's unions of waitresses, and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Great. Great. And the closing event, the Robert Shear movie.
Yes.
Do you want to say something about that?
Well, I haven't seen the film yet. I'm in it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
But, you know, Bob has made a major contribution politically
Yeah.
to our culture, beginning even before his editorship at Ramparts. He was one of many editors at Ramparts and did a lot of basic and very important muckraking work on what was happening in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And but even before that, he was working on the issue of Vietnam. I remember he was
Yeah.
one of the first people to speak out about
Yeah.
it and let us know about it.
I went to college with him, and we were in
You
a
did?
club.
I did too. I went to
You went
which
to
one?
Queens College?
UC Berkeley,
Okay.
because he was there too.
Undergraduate at Queens College, and
Oh.
we were in a club that I can't even remember the name of, but it was, you know, how we were going to change the world. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd be interested in seeing that movie. Also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really want to see it too.
And
yeah.
what's the newest thing you're working on?
My own writing?
Yeah.
I'm writing 2 books at once now. One of them is very easy for me because I've taught writing for over 50 years now, and I love teaching writing.
Yeah.
And so this is a book about how to write, and it's called Out of Silence Sound, Out of, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by
I'm sorry, and I'm distracted too because we're
Out of
winding
silence,
down.
sound,
Yeah.
out of nothing, something.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Susan, the world is telling us we've spoken enough.
Oh, okay. I wanted to talk about the other book. I can't do that, huh?
Say a
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, it's called Strong Man, and it's the connection between fascism and sexual predation.
Okay, okay. We're going to have to go to the stores and buy it if we want to read it right.
Yeah.
So I'm really so pleased that you were able to come and be on the show.
Me too.
And
Yeah.
I really want to urge people to come and hear you first thing Saturday and last thing Sunday, and the festival in between. We're going to have listed some of the free events of the festival. I think that almost everything is free, right? I warned people before that they need to get there on time if they want to be sure to get in. But I just think it's wonderful. It's exciting.
It's a wonderful festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've done I've been very, very impressed with the work you've done your whole life.
Well,
and,
thank you.
And it's fabulous to know that it continues. And may it continue may it just continue. When do you see as the finishing date for your book?
Well, I need financing for it. It's always a struggle. Artists within American culture really struggle.
Bye, my dear.
Great.
It's always more to say than time to say it.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for joining us this week for Bay Area Art Beat. We'll be back next month, and please find something in the festival that you're going to love. And you will not be sorry. We'll see you next month. Thank you for joining us. Join us next month. Bye.